Welcome to Backstories You Didn't Ask For, the podcast where we dig up the dusty tidbits of history you never knew you needed. I'm your host, Jim Chase, and today we're slicing into a story that's the greatest thing since, well, you know the rest. Buckle up, folks, because we're diving into the snarky, slightly crumbly tale of sliced bread. Picture this. It's the early 1900s. Bread is a hassle. You buy a loaf, you struggle with a knife, you end up with uneven slices that look like they were cut by a toddler with a blindfold. That's right, my friends. There was a time when bread came in a single, unsliced lump of gluten. Wow, what a time to be alive. And let's not even talk about the horror of trying to make a sandwich. It was a mess, and don't get me started on those crumbs. Did the pioneers have to deal with this? You bet. They were hardy folks. They were pre-sliced bread warriors. Let's delve deeper into the chaotic world of unsliced bread. Imagine a typical family breakfast. Mom's in the kitchen wielding a bread knife like a battle axe. Dad's wrestling with a loaf, trying to hold it steady. The kids are waiting impatiently, already late for school. This was not a pretty sight. Bakers tried to make life easier with pre-cut loaves, but those slices were more uneven than Uncle Bob's bowling score. Some were thick enough to use at the doorstops, while others were so thin you could read a newspaper through them. It was a carb lover's nightmare. Enter Otto Frederick Rohwedder, a man with a name almost as long as the time it took to slice a loaf of bread back then. Born in 1880, Otto was a jeweler by trade. Why a jeweler, do you ask? Because precision, my friends. Precision. Otto thought, why should bread be any different from jewelry? It needs to be precise, beautiful, and preferably not covered in crumbs. So in 1917, he started working on a bread slicing machine. But guess what happened? A fire destroyed his prototype and blueprints. A fiery betrayal. But did Otto give up? No. He rebuilt, redesigned, and in 1928, he finally unveiled his bread slicing machine. The world gasped in unison. Well, maybe not gasped, but they were definitely intrigued. Otto's journey wasn't just about rebuilding a machine. He had to convince bakers and the public that sliced bread was the way of the future. Imagine the skepticism he faced. A machine that sliced bread? Why? That's as unnecessary as an inflatable dartboard. Yet, Otto pressed on, armed with his vision and a lot of elbow grease. July 7th, 1928, marked this date, people. The first loaf of pre-sliced bread hit the shelves in Chillicothe, Missouri, courtesy of the Chillicothe Baking Company. And just like that, sandwiches were never the same. They were better, more uniform, deliciously symmetrical. But here's the kicker. Initially, people were skeptical. Why would I want someone else to slice my bread? They pondered as they struggled to saw through their own loaves like lumberjacks. But soon, the convenience won them over. Sliced bread became a hit, the ultimate life hack of the 1920s. The first advertisement for sliced bread proudly proclaimed the greatest forward step in the baking industry since bread was wrapped. Talk about confidence. But they weren't wrong. Sliced bread was an instant sensation, a marvel of modern convenience. Imagine the housewives of Chillicothe seeing this pre-sliced wonder for the first time. Is this some kind of witchcraft? They might have thought. No, just old American ingenuity and probably a bit of luck. Sliced bread needed a slogan, something catchy. Enter the greatest forward step in the baking industry since bread was wrapped. A bit wordy, don't you think? Thankfully, it evolved into the best thing since sliced bread, and the rest is history. But let's give credit where credit is due. It wasn't just Otto's machine that made sliced bread a household staple. It was Wonder Bread that took it to national in 1930. They wrapped it in that iconic packaging and made it a must-have in every kitchen. Wonder Bread's marketing was nothing short of genius. They positioned sliced bread as a modern marvel, a must-have for every home. Ads featuring smiling housewives and happy children all enjoyed the convenience of pre-sliced bread. It was 1930s version of This is a Wonderful Life. The tagline, "Build strong bodies 12 ways," wasn't just about nutrition. It was about modernity, efficiency, and progress. Wonder Bread wasn't just selling bread, they were selling the future. Sliced bread didn't just revolutionize sandwiches, it paved the way for toasters, the rise of peanut butter and jelly, PB&Js, and a general improvement in breakfast efficiency overall. Toast with a perfect slice of butter? Thank you very much, Otto. You truly made our lives better. Of course, there were some who resisted. The purists, the die-hard bread slicers. They claimed the pre-sliced stuff wasn't as fresh, that it lost its soul. But let's be real, who has time for that level of dedication? With sliced bread, breakfast became a breeze. Toasters were designed specifically for these uniform slices, leading to the crispy, golden brown perfection we know and love today. And let's not forget the rise of sandwiches. PB&Js, BLTs, grilled cheese, all made easier and more delicious thanks to our buddy Otto. Did you know that during World War II there was a brief but intense government ban on sliced bread? Yes. In 1943, the U.S. War Food Administration declared that pre-sliced bread used too much wax paper. Panic ensued. People hoarded bread. Letters flooded in, demanding their slices back. One outraged housewife wrote the New York Times saying, "I should like to let you know how important sliced bread is to the morale and the saneness of a household." I mean, she wasn't wrong. A nation deprived of sliced bread is a nation on edge. Fortunately, though, the ban was lifted just 3 months later. Apparently, the government realized that taking away sliced bread was like asking Americans to give up their freedom, or at least their convenience. Crisis averted. Once the world embraced sliced bread, it opened the floodgates for more bread innovations. We got flavored bread, enriched bread, gluten-free breads, and even bread that supposedly helps you lose weight. Yeah, right. Bread machines for the home became popular in the 1980s, allowing people to bake and slice their own bread with minimal effort. The irony? We came full circle, back to slicing our own bread, but this time with a machine doing all the hard work. Then there were the wacky inventions like the crustless bread loaf, because apparently some people find crust to be a personal affront. And let's not forget the breadstick craze of the 90s. Bread was no longer just for sandwiches. It was a versatile vehicle for all kinds of culinary adventures. Sliced bread even made its way into pop culture. Think about all the time you've heard someone say, "It's the best thing since sliced bread." It's a testament to the invention's impact. We've got bread in movies, TV shows, and songs. Remember that scene in Ratatouille where they talk about the sound of the crust? Pure bread porn. Bread is a staple at sporting events, too. The hot dog bun, another sliced bread innovation, and what would a baseball game be without a perfectly sliced bread sandwich?
Home run.
It's the little things in life that make things delicious. And let's not forget the humble toast in literature and art. From Van Gogh's The Potato Eaters to the countless still life paintings featuring bread. This simple food has inspired creativity for centuries. Sliced bread brought it to the modern age, making it accessible and relatable to all. Let's geek out for a moment. The science behind sliced bread is fascinating. The precision of the slicing machine ensures even slices, which means even toasting and spreading, it's all about the surface area and uniformity. There's even a study on the perfect thickness for a sandwich slice. Spoiler, it's around 14 millimeters. Thick enough to hold the fillings, but not so thick that you dislocate your jaw trying to take a bite. And let's talk about the crust. The slicing process creates a perfect ratio of crust to bread, maximizing flavor and texture. It's bread science at its finest, and I'm here for it. Now, sliced bread isn't just an American phenomenon, it's gone global. In Japan, they have chocopain, a fluffy, milky bread that's often pre-sliced and used for their famous sandwiches. In France, the baguette has its own slicing protocol. Each culture has its own take on the sliced bread wonder. Travel to Italy and you'll find panettone sliced to perfection for holiday feasts. In Mexico, bolillo rolls are split for tortas. Every country has embraced the convenience of sliced bread in their own unique way, providing that while we may have different tastes, we all appreciate a good slice. What's next for sliced bread, you might ask? Well, with the rise of smart kitchens, we might soon have bread slicers that can be controlled by our smartphones. Imagine waking up to perfectly sliced, fresh baked bread without even getting out of bed. The future is carb-loaded and bright. We might see more innovations in bread itself, with new ingredients and health benefits. And who knows, maybe 3D printed bread will be a thing? The possibilities are endless. As long as there's bread to slice, there will be innovators ready to make our lives easier. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to honor Otto Frederick Rohwedder, or Rohwedder? I'm pretty sure it's Rohwedder. Without his determination and vision, we'll still be struggling with uneven, crumbly slices. He's a true unsung hero, and his legacy lives on every time we enjoy a perfect slice of bread. So next time you effortlessly make a sandwich or enjoy a piece of toast, remember Otto Frederick Rohwedder, the man who made it all possible. Raise your sliced bread and salute to the jeweler-turned-bread slicer who changed breakfast forever. That's it for today's episode of Backstories You Didn't Ask For. Join me next time as we uncover another tale you didn't know you needed. Until then, keep your loaves sliced and your history snarky. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and tell your friends. And remember, folks, every great invention has a backstory, even the ones you didn't ask for.